fonts. That's what we're going to be talking today, about typography in general. So there is a lot of fonts. I don't know if there's millions, but definitely a lot of thousands. How do you use the fonts in your brand? That depends what you want to be projecting in terms of brand. If you want to be a modern, or if you want to be classic, or if you want to be young or older. So that will depend what you want. So we've always talked about thinking who your customers are. So if you have to think what your customers expect to be seeing from you, that is the font that you should be trying to use. So the first font that I'm gonna be talking about is the serif. So serif is the font that's got it usually looks a bit more classic, more traditional. It gives you a status of seriousness. So that is, if you're looking for that. An example of that font would be Times New Roman, which all computers have. The other font that you can be using is sans serif, which essentially is the one that hasn't got the serif or the decoration of the fonts. So that it's fonts like Arial or Helvetica, and that gives you a modern twist on your perception. So a bit more streamlined. So that usually a lot of brands use that font because most of the brands want to look a little bit more modern than classic, but that doesn't mean that you should not use Times New Roman if you're actually a bit more conservative or a little bit more classic. Then there is lots of other kind of typography, scripts or decorations. That sort of fonts, they're not very good for reading, so don't maybe use them for a big body text, because it's going to be hard for the reader to read. However, it's good for titles if you're trying to get some personality across. So a good calligraphy sometimes is quite good if your brand is young and you're trying to make like a sale 50% discount stuff. It gives a little bit more impact, because people will be drawn to that over a very serious font. The way you're using your fonts, it's also something that you need to think about. So think about if you're going to be using it in big blocks of text, how you're going to be using that font. The spacing between the font, the spacing between the lines is very important as well, because you need to help the reader to read everything. But also, if you're doing a postal, you want to do like a big fonts that fill up the whole space, so that there's no breathing space behind, and you just give them like a very tense feeling, or are you trying to be a little more zen and giving a lot of space to breathe and space between the text. I hope this is useful. Please sign up to our newsletter if you haven't. Do follow us on Twitter, do follow us on YouTube, and we'll be in touch soon with more questions, more answers, and more interesting content, hopefully. Anyway, speak to you soon.